The B-21 Raider isn't just a stealth bomber. It's the first operational sixth-generation combat aircraft in the world. While China and Russia chase sixth-generation fighters that won't fly for another decade, America's already flying a platform that can penetrate their airspace undetected, map their entire air defense network, and coordinate strikes from assets 1,000 miles away. The capability gap this creates will dominate air warfare for the next 30 years. Understanding why the B-21 qualifies as sixth generation requires looking beyond traditional bomber roles. Fifth-generation aircraft like the F-22 and F-35 brought stealth and sensor fusion to fighter operations. They can see without being seen, share information across platforms, and dominate airspace through information advantage rather than just raw performance. The B-21 takes these concepts further by combining strategic range with advanced networking that turns a single aircraft into a command node for entire strike packages. Traditional bombers fly to targets, drop weapons, and return home. The B-2 Spirit does this while remaining undetected through radar-evading stealth. Revolutionary for its time, but fundamentally still operating in the same mission profile as bombers have for decades. The B-21 changes this completely by adding intelligence gathering, electronic warfare, and battle management to the bombing mission. Think of it as a quarterback that can also score touchdowns. The sensor suite on the B-21 remains highly classified, but what's known reveals extraordinary capability. Multiple aperture systems provide 360-degree coverage of electromagnetic spectrum. This means the aircraft can detect, identify, and track threats in all directions simultaneously while remaining completely passive. No active radar emissions that would reveal its position. It sees everything while remaining invisible. This sensing capability transforms penetration missions. When a B-21 enters contested airspace, it's not just avoiding detection while heading to a target, it's mapping the entire defensive network in real time. Every radar that illuminates space around the aircraft gets identified, located, and characterized. Surface-to-air missile sites reveal their positions through emissions. Fighter patrols get tracked through their radar and communication signals. Command and control networks expose their structure through data links and coordination patterns. The real power emerges through what happens with this information. Advanced data links allow the B-21 to share intelligence with every other asset in the battlespace. F-35 fighters operating hundreds of miles away receive targeting information on threats they can't see directly. Navy ships launching cruise missiles get precise coordinates for air defense systems. Electronic warfare aircraft receive detailed information on radar frequencies and timings to optimize jamming. The B-21 becomes the eyes for an entire strike force while remaining undetected deep in enemy territory. Consider what this means for actual combat operations against a sophisticated adversary like China. Current penetration missions require extensive planning based on intelligence estimates of where defenses are positioned. Aircraft routes get carefully plotted to avoid known threats. If the intelligence is wrong or defenses move, the mission faces unexpected risks. Reaction time to changes is limited because gathering new intelligence takes time and the penetrating aircraft has limited sensing capability focused forward. The B-21 changes this calculus completely. The aircraft provides real-time intelligence as it penetrates, updating the picture continuously. If air defenses move, every friendly asset knows immediately. If new threats activate, they get identified and tracked before they can engage. If gaps in coverage open up, following aircraft can exploit them. The strike force adapts in real time based on what the B-21 actually sees rather than what intelligence predicted days or weeks earlier. Artificial intelligence integration driving these capabilities remains classified, but defense officials have confirmed the B-21 employs advanced autonomous systems for sensor management and data processing. Human crews can't manually process the volume of information multiple aperture sensors collect across the electromagnetic spectrum. AI systems handle threat detection, identification, and tracking automatically while flagging critical information for crew attention. This autonomous capability extends to electronic warfare operations. The B-21 can detect and characterize hostile radar systems, then automatically generate countermeasures optimized for each specific threat. Traditional electronic warfare requires knowing threat characteristics in advance and pre-programming responses. The B-21 analyzes threats in real time and generates tailored countermeasures on the fly. Even if adversaries deploy new radar systems or change operating parameters, the aircraft adapts automatically. The implications for strategic deterrence are profound. China has invested heavily in anti-access area denial capabilities specifically designed to keep American forces away from their territory and interests. Long-range missiles threaten aircraft carriers and forward bases. Advanced air defense systems create deadly zones hundreds of miles deep. Fighter forces backed by ground-based radar provide layered defense. The entire architecture aims to make penetration too risky and costly for American forces. The B-21 renders much of this investment questionable. An aircraft that can penetrate undetected while mapping defensive networks and coordinating strikes means China's multi-billion-dollar air defense system becomes transparent. Surface-to-air missiles can't engage what they can't detect. Fighters can't intercept what they can't find. Command and control networks that get mapped in real time become vulnerable to precision strikes. The defensive depth that costs decades and enormous resources to build loses its effectiveness against an adversary that can see through it. The production timeline amplifies this strategic advantage. Northrop Grumman is building B-21s right now at their Palmdale facility. The Air Force plans to field a minimum of 100 aircraft, with production ramping up to deliver multiple aircraft per year. This isn't a distant capability arriving in 10 or 15 years. Operational squadrons will deploy within this decade. Compare this to adversary attempts at sixth-generation aircraft. China's H-20 stealth bomber remains in development with no confirmed flight testing. Russia's PAK-DA program shows little concrete progress beyond concept models. Both countries face fundamental challenges in stealth technology, advanced sensors, and systems integration that took America decades to master. Even optimistic timelines put their sixth-generation platforms 5 to 10 years behind the B-21, if they succeed at all. This timeline gap creates a window where America possesses capabilities adversaries simply cannot counter. Chinese and Russian air defense systems were designed to detect and engage current-generation bombers and fighters. The sensor and networking advances the B-21 brings operate at a level their systems weren't built to handle. Upgrading air defense networks to counter sixth-generation capabilities requires years of development and deployment. During this period, the B-21 operates with significant freedom against sophisticated defenses. The force multiplication effect deserves particular attention. A single B-21 can coordinate strikes involving dozens of platforms across hundreds of miles. This transforms how America projects power in contested environments. Instead of needing complete air superiority before strike operations begin, mixed force packages can penetrate defended airspace with the B-21 providing situational awareness and coordination. F-35s handle fighter threats. Surface ships launch cruise missiles at revealed air defense sites. Electronic warfare aircraft jam communications and radar. The B-21 orchestrates the entire operation while prosecuting its own targets. The survivability improvements over previous generation bombers are substantial. The B-2 Spirit relies primarily on radar-evading shaping and materials to remain undetected. Extremely effective, but fundamentally a passive defense. If somehow detected, the B-2 has limited options beyond trying to escape the engagement zone. The B-21 adds active defensive capabilities through its electronic warfare systems and the ability to dynamically reroute based on real-time threat information. If air defenses activate in its path, it knows immediately and can adjust course while simultaneously providing targeting information to assets that can suppress those defenses. The operational flexibility extends to mission types beyond traditional bombing. Intelligence-gathering missions can penetrate deep into adversary territory without carrying weapons, collecting information on military capabilities, deployment patterns, and infrastructure. The aircraft can loiter in contested airspace for extended periods, something no current reconnaissance platform can accomplish. Electronic warfare missions can disrupt adversary communications and radar without revealing the source of jamming. Battle damage assessment after strikes gets performed immediately rather than waiting for satellite passes or follow-on sorties. This versatility changes force structure calculations. Instead of needing different specialized aircraft for reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and strike missions, the B-21 combines these capabilities in a single survivable platform. This reduces the number of aircraft needed to accomplish complex operations and simplifies logistics and training. A commander can task a B-21 with primary and alternate missions, knowing the aircraft can adapt based on what develops during the sortie. The strategic messaging China reads from B-21 deployment is clear. American capability to hold targets at risk deep in Chinese territory remains credible regardless of defensive investments. This affects Chinese military planning across all domains. Forces concentrated to defend Taiwan become vulnerable to precision strikes coordinated by B-21s. Naval assets in the South China Sea operate under threat of detection and engagement. Air defense networks that cost enormous resources provide less protection than expected. The calculus for military action shifts when key capabilities can be neutralized by an adversary with persistent access to your airspace. Some defense analysts question whether stealth remains effective given advances in radar technology and alternative detection methods. The concern has merit for older stealth platforms as sensor technology improves. The B-21's sixth-generation capabilities address this through adaptability. If radar technology advances to threaten detection, the aircraft's electronic warfare systems evolve to counter it. If adversaries deploy new sensors, the AI-driven systems analyze and develop countermeasures. Unlike previous generation aircraft locked into fixed capabilities, the B-21's open architecture allows continuous upgrades as threats evolve. The cost to maintain technological edge over adversaries decreases compared to previous platforms. The B-2 Spirit requires complete teardown and rebuild to upgrade major systems because everything was tightly integrated around 1980s technology. Each upgrade costs hundreds of millions and takes years. The B-21's modular architecture allows system upgrades without extensive aircraft modifications. New sensors plug into existing apertures. Updated processors replace old ones in standard racks. Software updates distribute to the fleet rapidly. This means the aircraft that enters service in 2025 will have dramatically improved capabilities by 2035 through incremental upgrades rather than expensive modifications. So why does the B-21 Raider represent a fundamental shift in air warfare? Because it's not just a bomber. It's a sensing platform that maps defensive networks in real time. It's a command node that coordinates strikes across hundreds of miles. It's an electronic warfare asset that disrupts adversary operations. It's an intelligence collector that provides persistent coverage of denied territory. And it accomplishes all this while remaining undetected deep in the most heavily defended airspace on Earth. The sixth-generation capability gap this creates will shape military balance for decades. While adversaries struggle to field equivalent platforms, America operates with advantages they can't counter. The strategic deterrence value alone justifies the program. The operational flexibility it provides transforms how America projects power globally. And the foundation it establishes for future capabilities ensures long-term air dominance.